This is Brett Olin.
I'm Dr. Peter McCullough.
This is Tom Luongo.
This is Chuck Prodnick.
This is Alex Kreiner.
Hey, this is Brad Wall. You're listening to the Shaun Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. Happy Monday. All right, we're going to not breeze through the intro by any stretch, but we got, I think, a very important one that everybody needs to listen to. I got a couple of texts in on it, so I'm going to read one of them. But before we get to that, let's talk precious metals quickly. They can be thought of as the ultimate insurance policy against economic uncertainty and government incompetence, with deficit spending and fiscal irresponsibility unlikely to end anytime soon. Now is the time to protect a portion of your hard-earned savings with a form of money that has been recognized for thousands of years. I'm talking silver and gold. I'm talking Silver Gold Bull. They are my go-to for precious metals with their complete in-house solutions, whether buying, selling, storing, or adding precious metals to your retirement accounts. They have a new feature exclusively for you that allows you to buy Royal Canadian Mint silver coins for the same price as generic silver rounds. If you're like Daddy-O Newman, you can just text me and I'll give you Graham's number, or you can go down in the show notes. I chuckle about that. I mean, just scroll down and it's sitting right there. Make sure anytime you're going to Silver Gold Bull that you reference the Shaun Newman Podcast. Helps them, helps me, and truth be told, it helps you. You can get a cheaper price on buying silver. So there you go. CalRock, your trusted partner in surplus oilfield equipment, leading supplier of new, used, and reconditioned oilfield production equipment here in Canada. But that's not all. Tank fabrication, new and refurbished fluid storage tanks, trucking, pump checks, and demolition for all your oilfield needs. CalRock.ca. Okay, so we're talking Lloydminster Lakeland College here today. On the mashup, I sounded off on it, and I had this come into me before I recorded, obviously, the intro. It said, thank you so much for standing behind Chris King. My daughter played against his team from 2018 to 2022, and he is a great man, great coach, so passionate about what he does, and developed great teams year after year, and you could see the love for him, and the girls all bought into his plan and were full of team spirit. I'm so proud of his team for forfeiting 2 games and taking a stand. These types of accusations can be life-destroying. So shout out to the listener who sent that along. I thought that was important to, it's one thing for me to have my thoughts on it, but once again, you start, as the audience starts texting, and I'm sure there'll be more, especially after today's episode, of people texting about, different ways that not only Chris King, but the Lakeland Rustlers women's basketball program specifically has operated for the last 17 years under his watch has been something. And, I'll talk about it today, but the kids have been in the basketball Saturday morning camp now for several years, which is under his girls' watchful eye, right? Chris is there lots. And I got nothing but praise for the way he's handled that program over the course of, obviously 17 years. And what's happening right now is just, heartbreaking, I guess. That's my thoughts on it. We'll let the girls talk. Just a couple things. Substack, week in review. Sign up down in the show notes. It's free to subscribe to. There's a paid portion if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff that you can't find anywhere else. And the Cornerstone Forum is heading to Calgary, Alberta, May 10th at the Wind Sport. Tom Luongo, Alex Kreiner, Chuck Prodnick, Caitlin Ford, Matt Arrett, Chase Barber, Chris Sims, Tom Bodrovics, all going to be there and more. Tickets down in the show notes. Early bird tickets until the end of December. All right, let's get on to that tale of the tape. All 3 of these ladies play for the Lakeland College Rustlers women's basketball team. I'm talking about Sarah Dacuycuy, Susan Ayaa, and Andria Stitt. So buckle up. Here we go. Welcome to the Shaun Newman Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Sarah Dacuycuy, Susan Ayaa, already butchered it, folks, and Andria Stitt. Ladies, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you.
I guess I sit here in Lloydminster. I heard the news about your coach, Chris King, and I was like, okay, what the first thing you want to do is get to the bottom of it, but it doesn't seem like anybody's talking. And I'm like, well, I know who Chris is, and something doesn't add up here. And so I thought maybe we could just start with, I'll go around one by one. You can give a little bit of your background, your time at Lakeland, anything else you want to add in. And so people can get used to your voices. And then from there, maybe we can get into a bit of the story and just a few questions. And I won't hold you here all day by any stretch. Sarah, maybe we could start with you. Just a little bit about yourself. What brought you to Lakeland? How many years you've been playing for Chris?
So my name is Sarah, and I've been in Lakeland for 5 years now. This is my 4th year of eligibility. I came here during COVID year, so it's been a while. And honestly, like, I didn't even know where Lakeland was before to begin with. Chris literally like brought me there, so like that's how I kind of like found out about like Lloydminster in general and whatnot. So and pretty much like basketball. Like basketball was like the sole reason why I came to Lakeland anyways. And not so much like the school part.
So, Sarah, sorry, where are you originally from?
I'm from Estevan, Saskatchewan.
Ah, yes. Okay, so you a little bit of a trip up to
Oh yeah.
Lloydminster then.
Oh yeah. 8 hours.
Yes. Cool. And sorry, how many you said 5 years, so you've been under or in Lakeland for 5 years.
Yeah.
But 4 seasons then, correct?
Yeah, 4 seasons counted. The COVID year didn't count, so.
Andria, I guess just a little bit about yourself. How many years you've been playing for Chris? What brought you to Lloydminster? I think those are very unique. Sarah started us off in a perfect way.
Okay, yes. This is my first year playing for Chris. I played 3 years previous at St. Mary's in Calgary. I came and played for Chris because I wanted to be a part of a winning program, something that was more stable, something that was more like real deal collegiate basketball, in my opinion, like to help me get to the next level. And he kind of like, he said the right things to me during recruiting. I came up in April and fell in love with Lloydminster and the team. So that's how I'm here. I'm from Alabama.
When you say stable, do you mind if I just pick on that for a second? Because this whole situation tries to paint him as the complete opposite word of stable.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about Lloydminster, Lakeland, Rustlers that looked stable to you, or coming from a different program?
For me, it was like the culture. Like everything was so family oriented. Like even when I came, he took me to his house. I met his wife. I met his kids. And then like even when I came and met with the girls, everything was just A1. Everyone's together. It was no bad vibes, which was new to me. Because coming around a championship team with someone who they just literally played against maybe 2 months, it was no like bad vibes. So I was just like, this is where I need to be.
That's cool. I appreciate you sharing that. Finally, Susan, and I apologize for butchering your name off the hop. You know, you told me exactly how to say it, and what did I say? I'm like, I'm about to butcher this.
It's okay.
Because my brain goes, I should pronounce it one way. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. Susan, how long have you been with Lakeland? What brought you to Lloydminster? And I don't know, if you got any other details, fire away.
I've been here for 3 years now. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, so not too far away, like 2.5 hours, I guess. And what brought me to Lakeland? I didn't even know Lakeland existed. I didn't know Lloydminster existed until like Chris came to recruit me just like during a practice when I was playing for a club team. So like I took like a year off and like was playing club, and then Chris came and recruited me from there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's just Lloydminster." I'm like, okay, I guess I might as well see how this is, you know. So he convinced me. I didn't even know what the team looked like at the time. I didn't know anything about this place. I just like showed up and signed, and yeah, it ended up being a very, very good program, and like I really enjoyed being here. So.
And apologies. How many years did you say? My brain probably
3
didn't catch
years.
it. Okay. So, ladies, I'm hearing like you've all played, minus Andria, you've all played for Chris for multiple years. And but Andrea, your comments about stable and the welcoming environment and everything else, I find really important. Now, you know, like I go, this is what I know. So I want you to fill in as many blanks as you can for me and the audience of Lloydminster. All I know is November 28th, they put Chris King on administrative leave after a former player allegedly filed a complaint with the college. I've been told from different sources that it was during a practice, an accident happened, and from there, all hullabaloo broke loose. And from November 28th, so I mean, like, what are we at? It's basically a week later. It went from like complaint to you guys, you ladies, hadn't lost a game in pretty much 2 years, to now you're forfeiting your last two, to he's now terminated, and everybody just move on. It's nothing to see here. So what am I missing, and what the heck happened?
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll start. I think, first of all, this happened in September.
Yeah.
So the whole investigation process was trash. We didn't get a say-so. I think everything that kind of lined up, it kind of just blew up all at one scenario. Like, we weren't, what's the word I'm looking for?
Consulted.
But yeah, we weren't.
Yeah, like, we had no voice in it. Like, half of the team were able to speak during the investigation, and it was, in my opinion, none of the players who should have been investigated, in my opinion. It was very one-sided base. They didn't reach out to see, like, how this would affect anyone. I think it was just a one-and-go thing. Like, we hear what we need to hear, and that it was a wrap after that, to be honest. I don't think they actually thought about how it would affect the team. But
I think we were just like super like clueless to what was going on. Like Drea said, this was back in September, and it just blew up now. And like in between that time, like none of us knew what was going on. Like no one had mentioned about investigations up until near this point, and it just came up right to our faces. It was kind of like a slap in the face, and I don't know, the lack of communication there was really, really crappy for this program.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we didn't really know what was going on, and like we were kind of just like left in a funk when they told us that this was happening, and it was just like super fair, and like everyone was just confused, and like it was just like it was super uncalled for, and this wasn't fair in our end as well. Like, and it's like we worked so hard to get to this point, and like for it to just be taken away like that, it was very like just not the right way to do it.
So, ladies, if you can, like, I didn't know it was September. Okay, so like, do you know if the investigation started back in September, or did it just get? So, what happened in between September and now?
Like we literally like played our games, like things were normal to us, like we were winning, we were enjoying, and like all of a sudden it just like suddenly blew up. And so like we were just as confused as everybody else at that point.
And then I guess if I go back to September, if you're okay to talk about it, like all I've been told is something happened at a practice. Is that at least kind of in the vicinity of what's going on? One of the things that has really irritated me about Lloydminster in general is when things like this happen, it's like everything goes on a rug. Nobody's talking about anything. We're going to act like nothing happened, and we're going to move on, and things are going to move on. And then now you got Chris King getting removed, and you're like, what happened? No, nothing happened. Just move on. We'll get a new coach in. It's not a big deal. Guy's been at college for 17 years, and he's put his, I think, by looks of it, heart and soul into it. The guy is more decorated than most coaches. I mean, every coach wants to have. I'm just going to scroll down here. He received the Canadian Collegiate Athletic Association Coaching Excellent Award. He received the Alberta, that was in 2024. He received the Alberta Colleges Athletic Association Coaching Excellence Award in 2022. He's been named ACAC's Coach of the Year 2024, 2022, 2020, 2018, 2016, 2015. He's won the league 3 of the last 4 years, I think, and he's a national champion. I'm like, okay, so that doesn't mean he's above the law by any stretch. I want to make that very clear. But what on earth happened back at the practice in September that all of you lovely ladies are like, well, we're not playing a ball game without Chris. But another person's like, nope, this happened, and we're going right to the top, and we're getting him out of there, if you don't mind sharing.
I think when you come into, like, for me, when you come into an organization like this, or like a program like this, you have to accept the accountability, and a lot of people can't accept the accountability. Like we were talking as a team the other day, and someone said, like, we carry ourselves as a professional team, which we do, whether that's team bonding, workouts, weights, individuals. Like, we have a lineup day by day by day by day, and we know we have to keep our grades, go to class, like, and it's repercussions for those if we don't. So everyone knows, like, what they're getting themselves into. And I think, like, when you put in that environment and you're not ready for it like you think you are. And it's kind of like put in your face, and it's like a bit of embarrassment. And you run with these false stories and you don't know how deep it could get. I think that's where it is. Like, someone didn't agree with this, and now it's turned into something that no one ever knew it would turn into, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what had happened was, obviously, like, our team, we made a mistake, and, like, as a collective, and, like, forgot our jerseys. And then with our own team consequences, we obviously had to deal with that consequence by, like, running. Like every other team, if something happens, you have to run for it, correct? And what had happened was, obviously something happened, and the people who were meant to be held accountable for it, I feel like they took it, they just weren't able to hold themselves to that standard, in a sense, because, like, we all know the repercussions within our team, and like, these are things that we set for ourselves, and I feel like they just had a hard time adjusting to that. And it honestly had nothing to do with Chris. Like, it was boundary, like, things that we set for ourselves.
And the whole team agreed on this consequence, though. Like, it wasn't nothing just like, oh, like, everybody was like, okay, let's get this over with and move about our day.
Yeah. I feel like with the standards, I feel like every other team in ACAC have this certain standard they hold up to. And I think, like, this is exactly why Lakeland Rustlers WBB is always so successful, is because we hold ourselves accountable for all these standards. And I think, like, just, like, a couple people just, like, never really kept that. And they were just, like, super complacent and whatnot. And I think that's the reason why, like, things were taken out of hand.
But it was 3 individuals who got in trouble. 2 are still here. One, whose this problem is all around, it's literally over there. And been over there since the incident. So what I don't get is how you side with a person who's not here when you have 14 girls who are here, still invested in this program, still want to be here, still enjoy being here, and you sit on that and forget about the whole other 14, because they forgot about the whole other 14. With Chris being gone, like, I'm going to say it, I don't even know if I'm coming back. It's like this now. We don't know as a team. I don't know as an individual. They don't even know as a college. So,
yeah, it's just, like, very, like, I don't understand how, like, I mean, again, you said he's been coaching for 17 years. He's built this program from bottom and up, and it just doesn't make any sense to me that, like, one thing could be so harsh, could give such a harsh punishment to a coach who we knew that didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, so, ladies, you don't know this about me, but I played college down in the States, NCAA Division III. Nothing, like, just to kind of give it some perspective. So when I hear, discipline, when I hear expectations and those words, if you don't come from the sporting background or even the high level sporting background, you might go, oh, I wonder what they're talking about. I personally get exactly what you're talking about. On this side, when I was playing in college, we had people go out and break curfew, get caught, and then we had to run the next day. And instead of them running, we had to run a medicine ball down and say thank you over and over again, right? As punishment for both sides, like, your teammates are supposed to, us running for them was shame on them. But also, I guess from where I sat, I was like, well, let's get it over for them, right? Like, we're going to move on from this and we're going to be stronger for it. And everybody makes mistakes. When I hear this story, I'm like, man, it breaks my heart. Is it all right if I call you Dre? I feel like, or is it Drea? Drea?
You can call me Dree.
Dree? Okay. It breaks my heart to hear that out of this comes possibly someone who's like, well, I don't even know if I'm coming back if they're not bringing Chris back. I think that speaks to like the situation here. We talk about him building the program over 17 years. I don't know if this is true. You ladies tell me. You've been playing for him a lot longer than most, and I'd be curious to go back through the 17 years. But I'd read is that this is his first complaint in 17 years. So so one complaint, and boof, it's gone. Am I wrong on that? Forgive me if there's been complaints and he's a trail of destruction.
No, you said it right. No other complaints out of the 17 years.
Yep. You would think it's like a targeted investigation. That's how I see it. It's a very targeted investigation. Mm-hmm. They stuck with one side, kept that one side, and it was just raps. Like, the more information we, like, talk and try to understand each other, it's like the more we realize, like, did they play us? Like, they were trying to interview some of our teammates, after they had already made the decision.
Yeah.
So it was just like, y'all giving us false hope when deep down y'all knew he wasn't coming back. Even before he was suspended, like, it seemed like the case was closed. So, and then we were supposed to go to Medicine Hat and Briarcrest without them even telling us. So we were supposed to get on the bus, travel 5 hours without a coach, go in a hotel, and sit there. And they can't talk to us. They couldn't talk to us during this whole process. So imagine us sitting in a hotel 5 hours away from where we are without a coach.
For 3 days.
For 3 days. With a boy
and getting told that we would be coached by other people.
And even then, the coach that they suggested didn't want to coach because they were like, what is going on? Yeah. Like, no one knew what was happening.
Was that, ladies, I don't know, you tell me, was that a hard decision? Like, I just think of undefeated and, defending national champs and all of it, and not to just, like, put it all aside, but to not get on the bus, the way the story comes rolling out, and forgive me, folks, if this is just the way my brain reads it, okay? I read it, and they try and paint Chris in this light of like, well, he was something to an ex-player, and it probably wasn't good, and that's why he's out. And I look at it the other way. I'm like, I look at a full team and assistant coaches wouldn't get on a bus to go play in an undefeated. If you were 0-10, it would make sense. It's like, screw it. We're already 0-10. Like, this sucks. You guys, you ladies are undefeated. And I mean, like, this is a pretty incredible feat. So that is not any easy choice, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe the way I read it, maybe it was just an easy choice. I don't know. I guess just curious on the walking through that and the choice not to get on the bus and support a coach who'd been removed.
I think with that, like, I knew personally, like, it was an easy decision for me. Like, I didn't even think about it. Like, once I was like, no, I'm not getting on that bus and I'm not playing. I think it's just the fact that Chris was the one that got us here. I don't want to end it off with him not being there. Like, I think it's just a respect thing for the person who has built this program. Again, I'm going to keep bringing that up because it's honestly, like, that's how it is. Like, he's built this program and we are a national championship, but he also put us there. He got us there as well. So, like, it would suck for us to just disrespect him by playing without him. So it wasn't a hard decision. I instantly did not want to play.
Me neither. When we got that news, like, the first thought was, like, we have to have our coaches back. Like, through and through, knowing him all these 3 years, was like, he always had our backs for any situation. And thinking about being in his position, I would want my players to have my back as well, right? Especially when, like, I've invested all this time and like, love and effort within these players. Like, I would only hope for them to stand up for me, and especially when they were there and they know what's right.
In the process, You mentioned they talked to some of you after the fact, or maybe what felt like after the fact. Did they talk to all of you? Like in this interview process, did they go talk to all 14 players and coaches? And I don't know, like, I guess if I'm gonna remove one of the, I don't know, a fantastic coach. Sorry, Chris. I don't know if I can put you as the greatest coach of all time. That's might be stretching it. But a great coach over 17 years with an impeccable record. I go, like, there's 17 years to, like, you could go back, you could talk to a whole bunch of student athletes and see, like, you could build the case of, like, it's one complaint, or there's 50, right? Like, I mean, you can see the trend, you can't see a trend. Over the course of this investigation, did they talk to all of you?
Nope. They did not.
Not even half.
Yeah.
No.
So a lot of us didn't have a say in any of this. They didn't know how we felt about it. Like,
but you were all at the incident, right? I'm in my brain. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this. Hockey player, I envision a bag skate, and it's like, that sucked. That wasn't fun. Because you're talking about discipline, you're talking about gym, you're talking about running. My brain goes to a bag skate. I envision something similar to that. So you're all there, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they only talked to a handful. Sorry, Susan.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I was right next to the person that it happened to. I did not get interviewed. I did not get asked about it. I had no clue that this investigation was happening until we were told we can't get on that bus. Like, we had nothing, like, no word, no voice within the situation.
If you could, since this time, I guess I have, like, when it comes to Lakeland, have you been able to voice your opinion to Lakeland? Because they hired a third-party investigator, correct? Like, am I right in that? Have you had an opportunity to talk to, I don't know, like an athletic director or somebody?
We have, like, partially. Like, he would in and out, like, would tell us what's going on, but not really, like, the full thing.
And by that time, I feel like it was still too late.
Yeah, like, by the time they started, like, speaking to us, like, it was even, like, past the suspension. Like, we just, like, didn't know. We literally, in the span of September to his suspension, we didn't know anything.
If you were to, no, actually, I was going to ask, have you been able to talk to Chris since this all went down? Like, I don't know the legal ramifications, if he's allowed to talk to his players, anything like that. Like, I know I tried, for the audience, I tried getting Chris to come on, right? And like, you can imagine the situation on his end, and maybe someday, but right now it's kind of tied up. So I don't know, are you allowed to talk to Chris and like the coach? Like, are you still doing practices and everything, or has it just been nothing for a little over a week?
From suspension to him being terminated, we couldn't speak to him. He wasn't allowed to speak to us, at least is from our perspective. Like, we couldn't be associated with him at all during that suspension up to the termination. And then when we, like, found out about the termination, that's when they were like, you guys are freely, like, you guys could go talk to him, whatever. But he hasn't been able to come to the gym. Like, we've been practicing, but, like, it's been so different. Like, it's just, like, a lack of motivation right now. But yeah.
If you could say, I don't want to pull you ladies into anything. My brain just goes, okay, if you could say something to the city of Lloyd, because, like, I mean, Lakeland College is in Vermilion, two camps, is Vermilion and Lloydminster. But I mean, like, I was, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is I'm like, I sit in Lloydminster and I didn't know any of the story, right? So if Lloyd's listening to this, is there anything you'd want to say to Lloyd? Is there anything you want to say to Lakeland? Is there anything you want to say to Chris? Those three. And then I'll let you ladies out of here. I appreciate you giving me some time, and I don't mean to pull you into anything else. I really do appreciate you giving a little bit of backstory on what the heck is going on here.
I'll start because they know I'm the bluntest, to be honest. What I'll say, I'll start with the investigation. Let's just get it, Okay, so we were at practice. Yes, we had to run. We ran. We were all tired. We were all upset. whatever the case may be. We're athletes, we're girls. Got to a point where we had someone go down. It's athletics. People go down to football games. People go down football practices, basketball practices, whatever the case may be. It was not anyone's fault. It just happened to happen that day during that situation, which is sad. Like, we never want to see that happen to anybody, nor do our coaches. They ate it to her while we walked to the other side of the gym, as everyone was instructed to, because you don't want to crowd a person who's down, whatever the case may be. I will say about maybe a couple minutes after that, she was able to get up. We walked to the gym, out of the gym, walked to the locker room. Everything, in my opinion, seemed to be okay. Like, seemed to be fine. They was aiding to her. They were talking to her. They were making sure she was okay, whatever the case may be. She went to the hospital after that. I don't know furthermore about the medical side after that hospital visit, whatever the case is with that. But I thought she was fine. I thought she would be practicing in the next 2 to 3 weeks, whatever. That didn't happen. I was clueless to that. Again, I'm a first year too, so I wasn't as close to everyone as I am now. But I thought it was fine. I thought stuff would go back to normal, which it did go back to normal. I feel like it brought us closer, in my opinion, after that whole discipline scenario. And then a couple weeks, 2 weeks after that, she left. I'm thinking, okay, this is for the best. I never want to see somebody quit basketball or whatever the case may be, but I was just like, okay, we still got to hoop. Fast forward 3 months later, 4 months later, we're here. And now it's just like, what are the false accusations? What is being told? What has been told? Like, what's been said? Like, that's what we need to know. Like, what are y'all saying? Because we were there. Like, I don't think no protocol was broken. No one was disrespected. No one was neglected. I just don't see how this case went from 0 to 10. Like, I just don't see it. I've known Chris for a short amount of time, but I felt the most comfortable. I've been playing basketball since 3rd grade. So, like, you can know the difference between a bad coach and a good coach by now. Like, I never looked at him second, sideways, like, questioning his authority. Never, I don't know. He just gave me very security. Like, I felt good with him, whether that was on the court, off the court, in his office, at his house, whatever the case may be. Like, if something was to happen, I'm going to call Chris. And that's till this day. Like, I have no one here who I can call besides Chris. Like, I don't think they get that. Like, that's my father figure here. Like, besides being a coach, he made relationships with us that's going to stick with us forever. He has former players that are his assistant coaches. Like, that don't speak volume either. Like, why would somebody who don't like him come back and coach with him again? All his alumni come back. Ring ceremony. He had his whole former 3 teams here. Like, who does that? Who's able to do that? Like, he got players from all around the world still coming back to show respect to him, to the program that he built. Like, it just speaks volume. And to have nobody else talk and put input, it's just targeted. Like, somebody was targeting him for sure. Like, targeting him for sure. He has so much to lose, and for them to just do that to him, that's like, nah, that's messed up. Very targeted. That investigation need to be investigated. Like, that's how I see it.
I feel like everyone just really needs to know the truth. And right now, they don't. And, like, people don't understand how much this is affecting a lot of us personally, not just through basketball, our lives. Like, people don't understand that. And they're never gonna know. And, like, this is exactly why we need to, like, voice ourselves, because clearly they're not listening to our coaches. They're not hearing them. And, like, now they got to hear us. And it sucks that it's happening right after he did get punished. But they just need to know the truth. Everybody needs to know the truth, because it's like lies after lies. And that's not what this program is about. It really isn't. And it sucks to see a good built up program go to shit. Nobody really wants to see that. And for a person who put their lives basically on this.
I was saying to you, Sarah, before we got on here, the other thing that maybe the audience of this is across Canada, right? Chris has got 3 young kids and a wife, and I don't know, from where I sit, a family man, right? I bring one of the things that you judge a tree by the fruit it bears, and one of the things is on Saturday mornings we bring the kids to women Rustlers basketball camp, and the kids run around and like you can just see it. I'm just like, I don't know. I've been a part of a lot of different sports teams, and when you see little things like that going on and ran so well, you're like, something doesn't add up here. Like it just doesn't add up. And I guess I just applaud you ladies for speaking out. I know that's probably not the easiest thing to do. This is where I make my living, right? I try and open up opportunities for people to speak, and you ladies got a lot of life ahead of you, and to open up your mouths and talk about something happening in basketball, but to somebody you highly respect is what I'm getting. I really appreciate you hopping on and doing this. If there's any final thoughts, well, the floor is yours.
I just want to say that Chris built us to be the best people we know we can be. He's a good person, just like everybody else is, and he would always teach us to be good people and to do the right thing. And right now, like, I'm glad we're doing the right thing, and people need to just hear that.
I agree. Whenever I speak to Chris, or just how he is in general, like his goal for us is just to make us better people outside of, like, it's not just about basketball when it comes to him and this program. It's about our futures. It's about our lives. It's about like the little things, right? Like being on time and just doing your work, getting it in, and just like knowing that huge piece has been stripped from us. Like it's just so devastating, and it's really hard to like go through with it, especially since like he's somebody that that always had hope in all of us and saw more in us than we were able to see ourselves, right? And really it's just, we just need people to know the kind of person he really is. And it's heartbreaking that was taken for granted by some other people. But
we wouldn't be in this program for we wouldn't stay for 2, 3, 4 years if that wasn't the case. A lot of people graduate from here who played 5, 6, 7 years, to be in fact. Like, people won't stay this long if they knew that the program, and they didn't know that Chris was a good person and a good coach. Like, it's exactly why we became so successful in the last 4 years. Like,
and it's not like this is a big university. We're not in a big city. Like,
no,
this really not a lot to offer in Lloyd.
You telling me the Lloydminster is not the bustling metropolis of
no.
Alberta?
Like, what? Like, we literally have each other. Like, that's what makes the culture, like Sarah's saying. Like, we're so here, and to take a piece, like, such a huge piece. Like, I don't think they understand how, like we're saying, like, a huge piece, like, that's like a cake without the icing. Like, who wants a dry cake? Like it just don't make sense. It don't peanut butter without the jam. You know what I mean? Like, it just don't make sense. Like, you look at it and be like, what? That's what this whole scenario is. Like, what?
Well, ladies, I appreciate you doing this and coming on. I know somewhere Chris is probably listening and appreciating it as well. I'm happy to hear that you get to talk to him, because my big worry, and I guess, with the termination announcement, I mean, obviously they you can talk to him again. But I can just imagine 17 years of doing something and building something up, to what it is and how successful it is, and then to have that stripped away overnight and then not be allowed to talk to the people you're around all the time. That's got to be on both sides very, very difficult. And so I appreciate you coming on and doing this. And well, I don't know where it goes, certainly my hope is for all of you, you get to continue to play basketball and somehow, some way, shape or form, Chris is a part of it, but appreciate you coming on and doing this. And hopefully this can give you and your teammates a voice to be heard by more than just, well, I hope Lloydminster tunes into this. Cause I mean, I think we've been spoiled with how good of a basketball program's been sitting in our town for the last, I mean, it's taken some time, but the last couple of years have been pretty wild, like, I mean, Nationals was here last year and you ladies, I don't know, national champs. It's wild to me, even to like rattle off all the things. It's just wild to me. So appreciate you coming on and doing this. And, yes, all the best here, ladies, with your exams coming up, I believe, and travels for Christmas.
Thank you so much for letting us do this.
Mm-hmm.